Hello, everybody. So, this is our third podcast, and I'm your host for today, Megha Bhatia, founder of Arua. And today we have a very special guest with us, and she will be sharing her story of her childhood sexual abuse.
Hello everyone, my name is Srishti and I am 28 years old. So I want to share a story of something horrible that happened to me as a child. So I was 8 years old and I used to live in a small town with my mom. She works, so she sometimes has to travel to different places for meetings or workshops. So we were raised by my grandmother and my uncle. So sometimes there were times when we were sleeping alone and there was a big house, and like we being children, me and my siblings, I have two siblings, both younger. So I was the eldest and I was 8 years old and I was alone. We were alone in our house, and my mom asked somebody to stay with us and to take care of us. So they were sort of our relatives, and I used to call them Mama. They were not my real maternal family, but my mom used to tie them Rakhi every year, so it was like a close family bond with them. So she asked their sons to stay with us. So we used to call them bhaiya and treat them as big brothers since we were like born. So these two elder brothers, so-called elder brothers, came to our place to stay with us. Me and my sister, we were sleeping in the bedroom, and this person, one of these people came, and he was like, "I'll sleep with you guys so that you don't get scared." And we did not mind because we did not understand such intentions at that time. At that age, everything seems harmless because you have not thought about it that way. You have not seen it as a danger because they are just family to you, because you don't recognize evil. So it was winters, and we used to use quilts. They were like heavy quilts, and I still remember the feeling when you used to sleep under quilts, and now we're using blankets these days. But so I was sleeping in the middle, and my younger sister, thankfully, she was sleeping at the other side. And this person, I felt his hands trying to remove my quilt from over my head, because it was very cold and I was like covered head to toe. And then it was in the middle of the night, and our house was in a deserted place. It was a small town and there was nobody around, and my mom always preferred us staying in after 8 or 9 because it was not very safe, and it was in the countryside basically. So he removed my quilt. I did not bother. I did not feel anything wrong with that. So I was like, I kept on sleeping, and then I felt his hands moving from under my clothes, and then that was the time when I just woke up. So girls have this sense when they're being touched, they can like sense it, and then they feel that something wrong is happening to them. Even if they don't understand it, they can feel the negative vibe associated to it. So yeah, as soon as his hands went up my thigh, I got really scared, but I was scared, so I could not get out of the bed. I could not breathe, and I held my breath. And then because he tried to pull my legs down, but then at that time I started to get up because I got really scared. And then this guy pretended that he was sleeping, and then like nothing had happened. So I got out of the bed. I just did not bother about my anything, my sweater or my slippers, and I went outside. I went in the backyard, which we back then called the Angan, and it was like very dark there, and it was December, so it was very cold, and in the countryside it was like much colder because there were trees all around us, and it was like really scary for a 8-year-old to sit outside. But I sat there outside and I waited for the sun to rise so that I can feel safe again and I can go in again. But it was so cold, and then I could hear the animals and like those night birds singing, and then it was even more scary outside. So I went inside eventually, and then I just could not bring myself to lie down next to that person again, but I had no option because no, that was the only room where I could be, and like there was no other place to go, and it was so cold. And then I thought that probably गलती से कुछ हो गया होगा, भैया कुछ और ही सोच रहे होंगे, I should just go and sleep again, it's alright. So after some time I brought myself to this decision of going back and lying down again in the bed. And then the audacity of this person was like, it still baffles me, like that he again tried to take the quilt off me, and then again tried to touch me, and then I just held on, like I had to hold on to my quilt, like so that he cannot get his hands in. And that's how I spent the whole night, like holding down to my razai so that he can't get his hands in. But that was the worst night of my life, yes. And I don't think any child should go through it.
You ever thought of sharing it with anybody, your mother or your father, or maybe your younger siblings or somebody in your family?
So later in life, I talked to my sister about it when I was like a little older, because I wanted to protect her so that she can judge the situation better and she can report it at the instant, because I did not report it, and that was the worst thing that I did. Because if that person was talked to, or this matters was resolved by my elders, he wouldn't do it with someone else. Like he would not have the guts to repeat himself and treat some other girl like that. But I did not.
Not even with your mother?
So not at that time, but later in life, once that guy came to our house, then we started living into a bigger house in a bigger city, and I had forgotten about it to a level. I stopped thinking about it. But then he came to our place and he was sitting in my house sipping tea, and I just couldn't bear it, and I just literally yelled at that guy, and I asked him to leave immediately, and I asked him how he dared to show up, and he did not say a word, not to my mother, not to me, and he just went away. And my mom was like so confused, and she was like confused, and she was scared also, like what had happened. Like she did not know when it happened, what happened. So then I talked to her, and then she handled it. Like she talked to the guy, she did whatever, but like yeah, it was too late, I think.
But what stopped you from reporting it when it actually happened immediately? Like why did you why did you not tell it or share this with your mother or your father when it happened?
So when it happened, I was like, I had no idea that things like these happen to children like me, my age, children who were like so young that their bodies are not developed, but people are abusing. I had no idea that this is happening in the world, so I was not aware. And I think awareness is the most important part that you can give to your children.
Were you able to figure out that this was something wrong, or you were confused about it?
No, I could figure out that there was something wrong, because why would you touch me on my chest or down my pants? when I'm a kid,
Okay.
like I don't understand these things. I don't understand anything sexual. I don't. And my mother never touched me like that. My father never touched me like nobody else did. Why are you doing this? This is wrong. So I had that much understanding of the situation, but I did not understand if it should be reported and what can I do about the situation. That was.
And now, since you are old, do you think about taking a legal action against that person, or going for a legal recourse or something like that?
So now that guy is married and he has his own family, and I don't want to hurt his wife and children for something he did back in the days, because I don't know if they deserve it, but I would do anything that can prevent even a single child in the future. So I'm just going to leave.
And have you taken any psychological help or psychological assistance related to this matter?
No, I think I am a little like strong on the emotional front, because I got over it. Like it did not affect my mental health, or it did not lead me to depression, but it can, because I have heard of cases like. But then I started talking to many girls around me, my friends and my sisters especially. I have two younger sisters, and then I talked to them, and touch wood, they did not face this, but most of my friends, every girl that I know
Has
faced
faced
this, and
Yes.
they have faced it in some way or the other, like elder friends, somebody, friends is uncles,
Known
whoever.
person, basically, a known person.
A known person who you would consider harmless from a distance. You will think that this person cannot harm my child, but that person is most of the times the
Likely to, because
Yeah.
when we look at statistics, in 94.8% cases, it's being done by a known person.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, is this incident affecting you in your life today in some or the other manner? Maybe in your relationships, or maybe in your relationships with your boyfriend, or in your family with anybody, your friends.
So it has definitely affected my thinking patterns. I don't trust people easily, and I especially don't trust people with my siblings, my sisters, or anybody younger in my family. Or maybe I would like them to know about all these things and these scenarios, that these things can happen to me. So my mom also tried to talk to me about this thing. She when I was a little kid, I remember her saying that even if your Mausaji or some Fufaji or anybody, if they touch you inappropriately, if they touch you here, she pointed at my body parts, like if they touch you here or there, let me know, let mama know. But did not understand, could not execute it. So a proper understanding of what can happen and how it can be avoided and how it can be prevented was very important.
important. What will your message be to all the young generation and all the youth, and what role they can play to actually prevent it? Because what we have seen is, in most of the cases, it is preventable if there is a person whom the child can talk to, or there is a listening ear. So what is your message to all the young generation? Since you talk to your cousins about it, there are a lot of people who don't, they are still shy about it. So what will be your message to the society and to the young generation?
So I think the beginning steps for us as a society can be that we talk to our own, like focus on your home first. Like you have children around you, look and figure out, like my Didi's son can be talked to, or auntie's children can be talked to, and there are so many children, like you can start talking to them at a young age, like after they start understanding normal things, they can understand this too. So I think you can begin with
Your
talking to your homies, like your even like you
Niece,
can even
nephew.
talk, niece, nephew, and you can also talk to your Didi, Jiju, whoever, like the elders, so that they can like learn about this subject, and then they can properly talk to their children, like on a daily basis, because you can talk to them once, but
on a daily basis,
their
the other people,
yeah,
so who are going to be with their own
with
child.
them, yes.
Okay. it takes a lot of courage to actually share your story with other people, and there are still so many people who don't share their story and they keep it with themselves. So what is your message to other people who are not ready to share their story, and why do you think it's important to raise your voice? Why is it important to raise our voice against this issue?
So I think every voice is heard by somebody or the other. Like Megha's voice can't reach each and every one of us, but yours can reach those who Arwa can't reach probably in some ways. So if you speak up and be the people who spread this message, you can prevent this issue, and you can save so many children from this harassment, and it is the worst kind of harassment. So if you speak up, if you share your story, they'll be more aware that okay, this can also happen, we did not think about it like this. So we can prevent it this way as well. So every story matters and every voice is heard.
Yes, so please raise your voice, because silence is not the solution, and trust me, silence will never be the solution. So, since abuse happens, but it is not the end of the life, okay? There's a whole new life which is in front of you. So, what is that one thing which has inspired you in your life and which has been an inspiration to you throughout your life?
I really like music, and it like uplifts my mood. Like even in the worst of days, it makes me feel so much better. And I personally listen to Taylor Swift, and she has been an inspiration. Like her lyrics, like she talks about her feelings. So people say that her songs are about her past relationships and her ex-boyfriends, but she takes it all out and makes it her strength. Like even if the worst happens to you, you can make it your strength by talking about it, and you like use the negative energy and create something positive out of it, and the whole world can live in the light of what you create. So I think she's really inspiring to me as a person.
Great. Let's ignite the fire within us and let's take inspiration from Taylor Swift also. Signing off, Megha Bhatia, founder of Arwa. Take care.